And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. Another day, another week of shows, I should say, too, as well, with two more to go this week coming up here. And we'll take a little time off for the holidays here. Again, happy early Thanksgiving to everybody out there in radio and podcast land here. We're presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. Check them out at bangtail.com. And, of course, their friends over there at honkytonktexas.us, the Texas little jewel in Silsbee down here, for their concert schedule and all their great food nights and dance lessons and things they offer out there at Honky Tonk Texas. Of course, you can catch us this week starting Thursday night at 10 out there syndication on KKTC True Country 99.9 in Taos, New Mexico and Pueblo, Colorado, that I-25 corridor, and of course out there at hightidecountry.net. We're powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com, and I told you guys we had a great show today, and I've been dying to get her on for a while now, and she's got a fantastic song called Tightrope, which we're going to play for you today on the show. Onoleigh joins us here on the Backstage Pass. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing so well. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, good to have you here too. Well, let's talk about this fantastic song. Just came out there in early part of October. You've really written this for a lot of reasons. And I think a lot of this was, for me, I'm already calling it like a top 5 hit on radio. I mean, this is a huge song. Your vocals are spot on. This song really meant so much to me. And I know the feedback you've gotten from it from a lot of fans, country music, Americana, a little bit of mix, which you have. Talk about this song in a way, because I really feel like it's part of your upbringing too. This song was meant to be for you.
Oh, absolutely. So I'll just start by saying I basically wrote this song for me. I've written a lot of songs in the past, and it was always kind of for plugging things in places. And especially with the pandemic underway, I kind of sat with myself and really walked into that and said, this one I need to write. It's going to help me through things. And I kind of forgot about it for a good year. Honestly, I just kind of pushed it to the back burner and started actually playing it out live finally, and got the confidence to do that. And the response was overwhelming. People who made me feel a lot less alone for feeling this way. And I realized I'm nowhere near the only person that feels this way. It's just the human experience. And when we listen to the song, it's very much about, balancing the polar complexities and staying on the straight and narrow, and it's a tough thing, but it's life. And it's definitely helped me and a lot of people. So I'm loving singing it, and it turned out very well.
Tough to find, at least I got from it, tough to find the balance in life between, I don't know, some people say this, and I did this when I started this show a few years ago, keeping a day job, keeping money coming in, taking care of your family, but then also chasing your dreams. That's what I got from it.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And that's a huge thing too. Cause I mean, especially up until about 6 months ago is the first time I went complete music full time. I had a candle job. I had a waitressing job. I was doing all the things all the time. And yeah, it's a lot of feeding the passion through maybe mundane work, if you will. And it's just a constant trial and things like that. But I think when you surround yourself with people who kind of help you balance the tightrope too, I think that's also extremely important. And it's really a never ending thing, but there's something so beautiful about, like I said, just staying on and holding on and hoping you get to it, even if it's not a guarantee, because that's also an element I think of the song is there is no guarantee, especially in the music industry with me, but you do it anyway because you love it so much. And there's something that compels you across the rope. And yeah, that's really where we're at.
Let's talk about your upbringing, growing up, and the connection to music, artists that kind of made you tick and made, Onoleigh the singer she is today. And you kind of shaped your voice around so much of a little bit of this song. We talk about Tightrope, but to me, you're like a born performer. And I love that too, because I've gotten to see some of the videos you put out there. So the upbringing, the connection to music from an early age, and what artists really shaped you to become the artist you are today.
Yeah. So a little backstory. I actually I'm a Midwest girl. I grew up in a literal cornfield in the middle of Illinois. And it was kind of funny because a lot of the music that found us was just, we're very in the middle of the country. And so it was a little bit of everything, a lot of hits. I listened to a lot of pop, weirdly enough. And then, of course, country music, love country music. Carrie Underwood was a huge artist that I followed. Kelly Clarkson. Those were my first 2 CDs ever. I still remember the Christmas my mom got me a CD player. It was life-changing. But just with those, very powerful, big notes that they would hit in those kind of ballads and things like that. And of course, Fleetwood Mac, the Eagles, loved that, loved the harmony work, loved more of that rock and roll kind of side as well. So that's really kind of what shaped me growing up. And then it was kind of unique that once I finally got to Nashville, I was actually a middle school guidance counselor before I did music. I went to the University of Missouri. I got my degree in social work, and I was plugged into the schools really quickly. And I realized if I was telling my students every day to pursue what scares them the most, I was like, I am not doing that, and I'm a hypocrite.
Mhm.
So I dropped everything and moved to Nash, and have really been finding my voice. And when I say it's been a process, it's been a process. But I used to fight it so much, and now I rock
Mhm.
out to it. Like every single song I put out represents, a different place that I was at in that time. And Tightrope specifically feels like a very timeless one to me, as
Mhm.
that's something I've felt the whole time. Just finally got enough courage to sing about it. So that's kind of how we got here, for sure. But
I love the story. Journey is amazing, and I would say it's not a sprint; it's a marathon too. When it comes down to it, this beautiful song too. You also put out called "Why Can't We Dance" was featured on CMT. Talk about this, because a great song and another great music video you guys got to put out.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, this music video was so fun. I love a good music video. And I was actually very, very lucky to partner with Millennium Dance Company. They're one of the biggest dance companies in Nashville. They supply dancers to anyone with, Dolly Parton, Tim McGraw, all these people with all your award shows and things like that. And I got in contact with a choreographer named Richie Mon, who, he's been there for years. And I basically told him the vision of this song, which for those of you listening, the song is all about, you just want to go out, have a good time, not put the pressure of, getting into a long-term relationship. Just, it's not you, it's not me. I just don't want to be in love is the hook ultimately. And it's got kind of that like Fleetwood Mac meets, a little rock and roll, little country vibe to it. So definitely go listen. But basically Richie Mon, he choreographed the entire music video. And we actually recorded it, filmed it at the Underground here in Nashville, really cool dive bar. And I mean, it was super epic, super cool. So definitely go check that. But it was one of the first songs that we really brought to life visually, and showed kind of different side to, I can be serious, but we can be sassy. And I think that's important.
You've also gotten to collaborate with some great names, Nathan Chapman, of course. And I mean, Hall & Oates, a huge thing. I had John Oates on my show a while back, and what a great pleasure he was to talk to here on the show. What's that mean? You look back and you're looking at all these great people, and I know Brandon Hood's another name. Brandon's work, I believe, with Rascal Flatts and a whole bunch of other, Sam Hunt, some great artists out there. He's a great producer. That has to mean a lot for you, especially early in your career too. Oh,
completely. And these were actually, I'm kind of happy in hindsight that I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. You know what I mean? Like I moved here and I was very, very brand new to the music industry. And meeting these people and just letting the music kind of be the connection, I think was extremely beneficial. And it was a very organic meeting. And especially with Brandon, we wrote a song that I actually have out now called Beautifully Broken. And we ended up, producing a couple songs together and putting those out, really feeling that. Phenomenal songs. And then, with John Oates and Nathan Chapman, actually the song that we wrote together during the pandemic, funny enough, is actually coming out on November 29th, and we can chat about that. Yeah, very exciting. But it's definitely been these connections that they were very random at the time. And I don't really even think, I mean, I was lucky that it would have intimidated the crap out of me. I'm telling you, if I would have known what I was really getting into. But in hindsight, it's been such a blessing to have people in my corner and really advocating for me and showing me the path. So I'm very, very grateful for that.
Well, you should be, no doubt, too. We're going to take a time out here and pay some bills here on the show. Come back, and we're going to show that very acoustic video from Onoleigh here and the single Tightrope, which came out October the 6th here. We're on our great station here, syndicated now, 99.9 KKTC. True Country out there, too, on the LMNOC broadcasting app. Make sure you guys stream the show weeknights, 7 nights a week, beginning this week. And, of course, out there in Radio Land at hightidecountry.net and powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. If you ever miss a show, you can catch them anywhere out there in podcast land. More with Onoleigh here coming back. We'll talk about a whole bunch of cool things. Close the year, the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the plans there too at the same time. Right now, a word from Bangtail Whiskey. Hang tight, coming back.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show, Onoleigh joining us here on the Backstage Pass right there on KKTC 99.9, True Country out there, the LMNOC broadcasting app, and of course out there at hightidecountry.net and powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com, presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and of course Honky Tonk Texas. I'm going to play this single now, cross my fingers every time I do this because technology is something else, can be your friend or can be your enemy. We're going to play Tightrope here, which came out October the 6th from Onoleigh here, so we'll get off screen. You guys enjoy the song here from Onoleigh, slight pause, and of course right here too as well. We'll continue playing this and come back with more conversation here on the Backstage Pass. Enjoy the performance.
Life or death, comfort, regret. You made it, you bought it, you loved it, till you lost it. Sunshine, rain, silence, pain, sin, profit. You're on it, till you're off it. On this tight road, inching through the unknown, sifting through what you've been told, still living for you get told. Holding on to high hopes for what's beyond this blindfold. Prayer on the high road, so you ain't hanging from this time road. Hurting, healing, knowing, believing, happiness, holding, trying, or falling on this time road, inching through the unknown, sifting through what you've been told, still waiting for you get home. Holding on to high hopes for what's beyond this blindfold. Prayer on the high road, so you ain't hanging from the sky. On this tight road, no idea where it goes. Hell don't seem that far below. I'm just trusting that it's gone. I'm holding on to high hopes for what's beyond this blindfold. Prayer on the right road, so you ain't hanging from the start. Road.
And back here on the show again, Onoleigh, the beautiful song there, Tightrope. Amazingly, I love this. And you guys can go through the struggles in life. You understand what this is about, and giving up your, like I said, daily comfort, I guess you could say, to chase those dreams out there too. I did it, and Onoleigh's done it, so we know understandably what this song means to so many people. Great job, fantastic to your players out there, your guitar player. Just a terrific singer, and can't wait to meet in person. Hopefully one day at the Country Radio Seminar 2024. We're going to try to be there again with our friends over at KKTC 99.9, Pure Country and True Country. They picked up the station out there too and syndicated the show now too on that very station starting this week, and also hightidecountry.net and of course our friends out there, the Sports Guys podcast.com. Hey, I want to ask you about this because you mentioned how, and I talked to a lot of artists here, they're getting a lot more songs into the movies soundtrack. You had one called Sunshine Lemonade that was released this year, March of 2023. Talk about this and the film that got portrayed in. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you. This is my first song actually in a movie. And it's again, a really funny kind of way it came about. So I co-wrote the song with John Oates, and during the pandemic, I literally remember, there was nothing to do, right? So I poured myself some pink lemonade. I'm sitting out at my childhood home in Illinois, looking out over the cornfields, and sitting in the sunshine. And I was like, man, sunshine and lemonade to remind you of better days, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wait, like that'd be kind of a fun jingle song to write, whatever. So I call up John and I kind of gave him a little synopsis and didn't hear anything. 3 or 4 days later, he calls back and he's like, hear me out. I kind of came up with something, whatever, we'll fill in the gaps. So we co-wrote the song literally over the phone. Anyway, he sends me, he said, we did like a work tape period. Didn't hear anything of it. 2 years go by. And he gives me a call and he's like, hey, Onoleigh, I'm actually in charge of the soundtrack for this up and coming movie called Gringa. And he's like, they selected the song for a movie. It's going to be in the scene where, they're surfing and everything starts coming together and the love is happening, all the things. And it was a really cool moment. So I actually drove home to Illinois for the night that the movie was released. And my mom and I watched it and we waited till the very end for the credits. The only time you'll ever see me wait until the end credits. Come on. But I like ran up to the TV and I'm like pointing all out, and it was a really cool experience. But the movie is fantastic too. And it was an honor to really be a part of that whole project.
Well, congratulations on that too. You also had a beautiful song come out last February, if I remember, February 18th, somewhere around there. Beautifully Broken. Talk about this one, a little bit of a backstory.
Yeah. So I actually wrote this one with Brandon Hood. There's kind of that whole connection there. It was just a co-write that kind of started, and we wrote the song in, I want to say 30 minutes. It was so quick. And we realized very quickly that we have a really great working relationship and we're very efficient. And Brandon was really great in hearing my ideas. And so we ended up cutting that and then a few others, and I put those out. But yeah, that song was basically all about, the trials and the tribulations, and basically the whole act of trial and error eventually leads you to the right person. And so you're beautifully broken for that person, but to them, you're a whole. So it was a really cool concept as well that I love to this day. I sing at a lot of weddings. It's literally the wedding song. Anytime anyone asks me to sing, it's Beautifully Broken at their wedding.
Love it too. And I know another one, which was a huge, huge song for you out there streaming wise. I mean, huge numbers. Ghost Stories. Talk about that one.
Yeah. Ghost Stories was my debut single ever. And actually Brandon presented that song to me. That's one of the first. I didn't write that one, but some fantastic writers on it. And again, it was just an honor to be a part of it. And people love that live. My guitar player loves playing that live. It hits super well on the live show. So very, very fun one. Yes.
Speaking of that live show, I'd love to build on that too. What a great segue that is. You've had a chance to open for the Chris Jansen's out there. Yeah, Buy Me a Boat. Love that country song too. Jordan Davis, who's killing it right now too. It seemed like everything, he's nominated for every category of an award. He's like hit the golf ball, like I said,
exactly.
Out there too, home runs out of the ballpark. Tyler Rich, whole bunch of just great people. Joe Nichols, who's been on my show here to talk about music. What's that meant to you? I mean, in your career, and just to see how they work the stage and how you get out there and do, because I know stage presence is huge.
Huge. Oh, it's huge. And Chris Jansen, for example, he is one of the craziest, best, performers I've ever seen in my life. Like genuinely, I heard from so many people before I met him and opened for him that he was a firecracker on stage, but watching him, I mean, I was just in awe the whole time. Really great person too. It was a pleasure to open for him. But yeah, to answer your question, I think performance, I mean, ultimately that's why I got into it. I've learned the songwriting. And that's really definitely been something that grows with me, but the performing has always been my love. And what really got me into it. And where I feel most comfortable, actually, my best self is when I have a microphone in my hand and I feel like people are in the audience, really feeling things. And it's almost like therapy sometimes when they're singing it back to you and everyone feels understood and it's a little escape. And if I can be a piece of that, it's really the reason I do this. So yeah.
I love it too. I got some audience participation here too, which is always good to take those questions out there. If you guys have any comments, leave them in the comment box. We'll get to as many as we can here with time permitting here on the show, here on the Backstage Pass. So David, all the way in England. Always love David tuning in over in Cumbria too. Great fan of the show. He says, which songs do you enjoy performing, and are you not ruling out playing an instrument in the future? I mean, you probably already do play several instruments, right?
Yes. So I actually play the guitar. It's really funny. I said I played guitar until I then moved to Nashville, and you watch real guitar players who are just shredding up and down. So I'm a little more nervous to play and sing at the same time, but I definitely play guitar, write music, things like that. And I have to say my favorite song to perform this far is probably Why Can't We Dance or Make It Hurt. Those are definitely my favorites. And actually at the Bridgestone Arena out here for the Predators, I have the honor of playing for them at their intermission shows, and I just did one a couple weeks ago. But Why Can't We Dance is one of those songs that just hits. It's a crowd favorite. It ends with that really, really big note, and in an arena, you can really scream that thing. And so it's a very powerful one. So I genuinely enjoy that one. Yeah.
Well, speaking of that one too, Make It Hurt, we're going to come back and talk about that one, break it down a little bit too, and talk about the holiday season, rapid fire coming up, and a whole lot more here with some cool things we're going to talk to Onoleigh about here on the Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com, also out there at hightidecountry.net, streaming radio in Oklahoma, and of course our new syndicated stations out there, KKTC 99.9, True Country in Taos, New Mexico, and Pueblo, Colorado. Coming back more with Onoleigh here on the Backstage Pass. Hang tight.
The bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And now, of course, you can catch us on syndicated radio out there, KKTC 99.9, True Country in Taos, New Mexico, and Pueblo, Colorado. Weeknights and weekends out there, too. Playing the show and featuring the best artist in country music, too, and also at hightidecountry.net and powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. We just keep adding platform after platform after platform. So that's a good thing out there, too, for the show to showcase the best in country music. We got one of them today, Onoleigh, joining us here on the show. So we're going to make it hurt now on the Backstage Pass. Tell us about this song, because I loved what you did, every bit of it, start to finish.
Thank you. This is probably one of my favorite songs I've ever put out, and I wish that I wrote this one. This is one of those songs that came across my lap, and actually this song was written by Maren Morris, Chris Stefano, a couple others, and it is just, I remember the time that I put it out. I was just going through a breakup myself, and it was like all the words that I wanted to say that I couldn't. So this song actually made me feel very understood and kind of navigated me through a really tough time. And then again, the response of this song has been actually kind of hilarious, as it's, you know, it's a little more of an angsty song, if you will. And so the people that have come forward with loving this one, they scream it at my shows, which is always awesome. And yeah, I love it. We recorded the music video on the Nashville Library rooftop here in, Nash. So go check that out. And yeah, it's been pretty awesome.
I love that too. We're of course out there on YouTube as Emma's tuning in here saying, and I already knew this coming into it, the most talented girl.
Oh, girl, hey, that is amazing.
So people out there, YouTube channel, subscribe out there to Onoleigh's and to us here at the Backstage Pass, and definitely make sure you give us a like out there on social media, both the artist and the show too at the same time. All right, so rapid fire, got to get into it. We'll do this. Plans for the holidays, especially with Thanksgiving and Christmas approaching.
Yes. Oh gosh. Well, I'm excited for a little break, if I'm honest. When you're shooting for a dream, there's no like off days. People always say, you'll never work a day in your life when you live your dream. And I'm like, oh no, you work harder. You just love it a little more. You know what I mean? But so I'm excited for some downtime. And I think I'm just gonna have a good old fashioned Thanksgiving in Illinois. My whole family's gonna come together. My cousin, she recently started coming from North Carolina and celebrating it with us, and it's been a blast. So I'm very excited for that. Christmas, I think I'm bopping out to California for a little bit. I'm gonna play a couple shows in between Christmas and New Year's, and then just take a breather. But I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm
gonna do some hiking out in Arizona and Sedona, and you're right, chasing a dream, there's never a day off, and so It's just go type of deal. I can only imagine what it's like for you guys as an artist and myself as a
Yeah.
podcast show out there too. There's never a day off. You just have to take them when you want them to. I
Oh,
love that.
absolutely. Yes, yes. And it's funny too in the music industry. I was just telling this to somebody. It's like when you're an entertainer, right? You're usually on everyone else's off days. So your weeks are almost flipped, right? Like my Saturday night is like Monday, Tuesday nights, while everyone's partying on Friday, Saturday, Sundays. That's when I'm working. So everything's flipped. Everything you could think of, it's completely opposite. And it's definitely been an adjustment, but I'm loving it. I love it.
I love it too. Love one of my family members. They tune in all the time. They got some great questions here. So Crystal from San Antonio, favorite Christmas song. I love that.
Ooh, Hard Candy Christmas, hands down. Love it. Yes. I actually have this one. We have a cover of it on YouTube. A lot of things on YouTube. Guys, go check it out. I'm telling you, that song just hits no matter where you are at in life. And it's cool because it says Christmas, so it's a Christmas song, but I think it's year round, to be completely honest. So yeah.
Now it brings up another question here. Good segue here too. Any plans for Christmas singles or a Christmas album for Onoleigh coming out in the future?
Probably next year, if I'm being completely honest. I think like last year I did kind of this series that I put out, just really minor videos. I put 5 songs out on YouTube, and people had a really great response. They loved following them and doing the classic songs. We did Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, had a friend of mine actually playing the saxophone. We were just rocking out Silver Bells, a lot of things like that. I'm thinking next year I'm going to really, really either put, a little Christmas album, little EP, maybe a song, something like that. But yeah, we got to celebrate the holidays officially next year.
I'm looking forward to that too. And I'm starting early, leaving this Saturday for Arizona and coming back whenever I come back. I'm not worried about that too, which is great. Hey, food's going to be great for the holidays too. Onoleigh, what does your family get into? I mean, obviously turkeys and all the sides and everything, but is there a dessert or the turkey or kind of a mashed potatoes?
So for Thanksgiving, it's pretty normal, like what you would expect, but we do have this family tradition. So I'm Swedish. I'm very Swedish. And around Christmas time, my mom has always made, ever since I was a kid, korv. Are you familiar with what korv is?
I'm not familiar with that. No, what is
it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like I want to Google it, but it's made out of potatoes and it's almost like a brat kind of meat substitute, but it's really, really good. But we import it specifically from Sweden every year, and it arrives in this crazy, ridiculous refrigerated box, if you will. And I always thought that was normal until I got older, and people are like, "What the heck is that? It smells kind of weird." But yeah, that's our thing for sure. So definitely give it a try, y'all, if you want to try something new.
I do want to try something new. The potato, and you got the meat in there too, the brat. They got my attention. I was like, enough said. Just give me a little some of that. Sure, I wish I was around for the holidays. Now, look, I love Illinois too, and I got to ask you about this. Growing up, sports teams in your household, who were you rooting for? Who was the family rooting for?
This is crazy, guys. And we really were not sports people. And that is one of the weirdest things, even growing up now, because everybody's sports, right? Of course, University of Illinois, we were the Fighting Illini. Right. Like we got on that for sure. And then it wasn't really till I went to Mizzou for college. The first year I was there was Mizzou entered the SEC for the first time, which was 2015. So we've come a long way. And actually the other night I just watched a game. I think we were against Georgia, I want to say.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. And so we've really come a long way the way we're doing this. But yeah, it's kind of been this really fun thing of the older I'm getting, I'm starting to actually get into sports and realize most people do. But no, we were like big soccer fans. I played soccer all growing up and watched the World Cup, everything like that. But yes.
There you go. So you got into it as you got older. For me, it was just one of those like 8 years old, 9 years old, get hooked. And now it's like it become a part of and now I got this thing called, powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. And now you've got this whole thing with music and sports coming together. It's so interrelated too. It's so just like overlapping now these days, how hard athletes train and how hard musicians train their voices and vocals. It's a great comparison too. It is.
Oh, a lot of parallels for sure. Yes.
No doubt about it too. All right. Again, we'll finish with this one here because I know looking forward to having you back here in 2024 when new music comes out and musicians never rest on their laurels too. What was the first song you ever sang live on stage? And it could be a cover.
Ooh, Walking After Midnight, Patsy Cline.
There you go. It's like a classic. I love it.
I visited Nashville for the first time when I was 16 and I was super angsty. It was actually on Thanksgiving, guys. This is a real life story. I was angsty, as 16-year-olds do. And I wouldn't come out of my room. And my dad was like, how can we make you happy? What can we do? And I said, I want to go to Nashville. I don't know why I said that. I don't know what was in my being, but Dad said, okay. And we literally missed Thanksgiving dinner. My whole family had come in from Wisconsin, from North Carolina. Mom's looking at dad like, what are you guys doing? And we drove to Nashville all through the night. And we stayed at a hotel that doesn't exist anymore that had a guitar-shaped swimming pool. It was crazy. And yeah, we went up and down Broadway the whole next day. And I got up at Rippy's Honky Tonk and I sang Walking After Midnight by Patsy Cline. And everything clicked. And I said, when I graduate college, because the parents made me go, I said, I will do music. And it's been a long thing, but that's funny you ask that. It's been awesome.
Well, we just always insightful here on the broadcast and got to put out, hey, the best questions we know how to, which I love stuff like that too, because it always makes for good stories and great entertainment.
Full circle too. Full circle is crazy, but yes, absolutely.
So many parallels out there too. Well, I can tell you what, this song, like I said, once it does get pushed to radio, if it hadn't been already, as a former program director for country radio, Tightrope is fantastic. If you guys have not, now you've heard it here on the show, and of course out there in Radio Land, go download, go stream out there too. Give her a like across social media. The one, the only Onoleigh here on the show. Again, catch the replay. 99.9 KKTC True Country in Taos, New Mexico, and Pueblo, Colorado. LMNOC streaming app out there too. Just type in those very letters, LMNOC, in that app store. You'll get it pulled up too, and also playing the best in country music out there too as well. Tightrope across all the platforms. Catch us on hightidecountry.net and powered by the sportsguyspodcast.com. Thanks so much for being with us. I love your story. It is fantastic. So glad we got to connect. Happy holidays to you and your family. And definitely let's do this again in 2024.
Yes, of course. I look forward to it. Thank you so much.
You got it. The one, the only Onoleigh here on the show. We're presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and Honky Tonk Texas. Back with one more show coming up this week here. Mackenzie Phipps also doing some great things out there in Nashville, Tennessee too. And coming up here in a few weeks, Keith Anderson and a whole lot more here on the Backstage Pass here as we tell more stories from the great artists out there in country music. And of course, this month of November, the CMA Awards coming up this week. Peyton Manning and Luke Bryan hosting it coming up this week. A lot of cool stories I'm sure will be told on that very stage coming up this week here. From all of us here at the Backstage Pass, catch the replay again, KKTC 99.9, True Country out there, LMNOC broadcast app to stream it, and of course in Taos, New Mexico, Pueblo, Colorado, and thanks to our friends at Bangtail Whiskey out there and Honky Tonk Texas. See you this week on the Backstage Pass. Until then, take care. God bless. We'll see you soon.